The largest joint Air Force exercise in the world is being held in Israel. 8 countries, including the host country, are taking part in the drill. Senior defense correspondent SHai Ben-ari has the story.
A German Eurofighter Typhoon takes off into the desert sky from a runway in southern Israel. Seconds later, an Israeli F-15 follows. The two countries are strategic partners today, but such a sight would have been unimaginable a few decades ago, considering the tragic history both of them share. These jets are part of Blue Flag 17, the largest joint air exercise ever to take place in Israel, involving some 70 planes from 8 different countries, including the US, Italy, Greece, Poland, India, France, and Germany, in addition to Israel. Taking place at Ovda Air Base in the Negev Desert, it's also the largest aerial exercise this year anywhere in the world. India, France, and Germany are all first-time participants.
When we were on our way to deployment into Israel, when we were intercepted by the first Israeli fighters to bring us here into Ovda, this was a very special moment.
Was there a lot of emotion involved, you'd say?
Obviously, yes. There's a lot of involvement for the entire German detachment. Everybody who was allowed to come onto this detachment, a lot of people volunteered to go to Israel. We were all very excited, and everybody was very happy when he got elected and appointed to come down here to Israel.
I was there in the shelter when 6 German Eurofighters entered the shelter at Ovda. It was emotional and exciting for me. I think that the past is the past. We cannot change it. But the relationship now between the German Air Force and Israel and Germany is based on trust.
The main objective of the exercise is to improve the combat readiness of the participants and to establish common procedures and standards for air forces that may end up fighting on the same side.
In this exercise, we are doing everything together, starting from the planning of the scenarios, briefing them, going out, flying them together, landing, and then debriefing them together.
During the course of this exercise, the various participating nations make up a blue team, tasked, for example, with protecting a given area, while a red team, made up of Israeli jets, is tasked with hitting targets both on the ground and in the air.
The red team, consisting of F-16s, attempts to replicate flight patterns and tactics used by Sukhoi and MiG fighter jets. But officers told us here that the exercise does not involve simulating combat against a particular enemy nation. There are also scenarios where 2 blue teams will go up against each other, but the teams are always mixed in that case. There are no nation-on-nation drills here.
The most complicated thing is to actually find a common base of understanding of how the operations work. This exercise is very much focused on the flying part itself. It is not about planning, it's about execution.
You put people in an unfamiliar scenario, working with unfamiliar assets. You can't predict how that's going to happen, so I think in dealing with the uncertainty is probably the biggest challenge.
Officers here told us that there have been some minor safety incidents, such as altitude deviations, but nothing major so far. Accidents are not uncommon in drills this complicated. A special complex where the pilots from different nations can mix and interact was set up for the sake of the exercise.
I personally really enjoy seeing the faces of the people that are sitting in the jet, behind the helmet, behind the visor, just as you guys see me right now. It's very important to build a personal relationship, not only with the country, but with the pilot that's sitting inside the jet, underneath the helmet.
Blue Flag comes to a close on November 16th. SHai Ben-ari, I-24 News, Ovda Air Base, Israel.